Our first bit of news is going to be in regards to Donald Trump coming after the Southern Poverty Law Center, which, for those of you who are not aware, obviously they are a law center that is based in the South that has deep roots in the movement for the liberation of people of color. And they are known quite famously for documenting hate groups across the country. They have this really unique map where you can pull up your state and see all the documented hate groups that are out there. So I wonder why Trump doesn't like them.
Yep.
Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama.
Oh, what a great guy. What a great guy that they had come out here.
Also, can we talk about how Kash can't stop fucking moving?
I think he's on a little bit more than alcohol, allegedly.
Yeah. Well, the alcohol one is pretty... He's on video.
Allegedly.
Drinking a lot. That's not allegedly. That's on video. But
Maybe,
allegedly, his problem goes beyond what's on the videotape.
Yes.
Yeah, didn't that lawsuit? He filed a lawsuit against some newspaper for saying he drank a lot, and it got dismissed by the judge almost immediately, despite him swearing up and down that it was a legal slam dunk for him to win. Like,
Yeah, because the judge was like, you're literally on video drinking with the U.S. hockey team. Like, they got you. Like,
you don't want a vexatious litigant in charge of the FBI, but what else do you expect from the Trump administration?
yeah, pretty much.
Grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit.
Okay. First of all, why are they on this fraud kick? When Jared Kushner literally accepted billions of dollars from the Saudis, Trump has a plane that was bought by the Qatari government.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Fraud is always bad. It's bad. It's not a good thing.
You're not a pro fraud shit.
Right. But I'm just saying, keep the same fucking energy when it's Trump as you do when it's liberal institutions or whatever you want to call it. And then conspiracy to commit money laundering?
Yeah.
Motherfucker, Trump was indicted, what, 41 times?
I think it was 34 felony counts that he was convicted of, so he's a 34-time convicted felon, meaning he went through the process, the whole, innocent until proven guilty and all that, and then was proven guilty.
Yep, to learn more about that, quickly Google Trump Rule 34.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah. Don't do that to people.
But, no, on a more serious note, I've dug into this case. It's somehow much, much stupider than you think. But we'll get there in a minute as soon as the clip finishes.
An entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
So, what happened is the Southern Poverty Law Center has traditionally used paid informants. They would either pay somebody that was high-ranking in an extremist organization, or they would place somebody in an extremist organization to collect intel for them.
Like the police.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly like the police. Now,
the literal FBI.
Yes. Well, it is a little bit different because, they're not a state agency, so they don't have, the legal monopoly on violence that governments tend to. But here's where it gets really stupid. What they're doing is that they're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center's paid informants drove these groups to extremism. So we've gone complete full circle. Like the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally, the Proud Boys, a couple others are named in this. We have gone completely from, no, they're not extremists, to, yeah, they are extremists, but only because the Democrats made them.
Yeah. Supposedly the biggest watchdog on extremism is actually the biggest driver of the extremism.
I just love, and I can't wait, we have more videos about, related topics. I'm assuming Subpart Joe is going to talk a little bit about something similar, but they're always saying that we're pushing extremism, and it's so wild. Like, we had that episode with Representative Ahmad Rivera Wagner, friend of the show, where we were talking about how we're not radical. Like, there are no, a left-wing extreme group wants everybody to have health care.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want a fucking race war.
Yeah. No, and whereas a majority of the right is that at this point, that they just want the race war. They want things to happen. They're encouraging people to do more violent extremist things like driving trucks through protesters and stuff like that.
Right.
That's their entire movement. Their entire movement's doing that. With us, when like even with something like Luigi, we're like, or Charlie Kirk is a better example.
Or Warehouse Guy.
Yeah, it's like, if you hurt people in that, you shouldn't have done that. That's bad. But at the same time,
you can understand what drove somebody to take an action while not agreeing with the action itself. It's not that complicated.
Right.
And our motivations are always like, we want to help people. We want to be more compassionate. We want the system that hurts people to stop hurting people. And theirs is always, no, we want the system to hurt people. We want people to be pushed down unless they're us.
Right.
Basically. And so and also what makes this whole situation suck a lot is that there might actually, like, it's entirely possible that there could be real fraud claims for the Southern Poverty. Like, nobody's perfect. They could easily be
and I'd want
doing
that
fraud.
investigated.
Yeah. But the problem is you can never trust any of that with the Trump administration because they show that they are constantly... Yeah, they are literally full of frauds, including the chief head poobah of fraud himself, Donald Trump. They've already said that they want to go after all their like political opponents and stuff like that, and the Southern Poverty Law Center is a major driver of their opponents. So, in terms of like, it's actually going after the extreme elements that move the right forward.
Right.
So it makes sense that they would target that, but even if there are legitimate fraud claims in there, it's hard to take it seriously because they're also going so far out of their depth with charges too. Like that's what they did with Luigi, charging him with terrorism.
Yeah.
For killing one guy with no expectation of terrorizing anybody.
Right, right.
Like
they're obsessed with fraud, as we've seen. I mean, we
Yeah.
had a fucking reel go viral talking about conservative mood rings, right? Like
Yep.
this is their purple on the
Yeah.
fucking mood ring that they have. Like,
and they don't stop talking about, like they're still talking about the Somalis, but a lot.
Somali fraud.
Yeah. Well, but they're even de-emphasizing the Somali part. Like they'll still bring it up every once in a while just to be like, hey, don't forget you have to hate the black people too.
Right.
But like they've moved on to where it's just generic fraud now, and they're just going after fraud everywhere. Supposedly, it's just like the whole waste, fraud, and abuse shit with Doge, where it's completely made up, and what they're going after is very little actual waste, fraud, and abuse, and just good stuff.
I will argue, like, the converse that still agrees with you. I'll argue that government fraud is a huge, huge problem. There are a shitload of organizations that take advantage of government grants, do stupid shit, like, look locally, New Cap, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, these investigations are only going to find 50% of the fraud at max. No points for correctly guessing what fraud they won't find. And
Right.
Do you know how many billionaires have actually sat in prison in the United States?
Not many.
Yeah.
And Trump is pardoning a shitload of them, so.
2.
Yeah. And
2.
like, wage theft is the real fucking fraud here.
It's literally the number one source of theft.
Yeah.
2. One was a certain Mr. Epstein, which we're not even sure was actually a billionaire. And the other one was
killed himself.
Yeah. And the other one was fucking Bernie Madoff, who made the critical mistake of stealing from the rich.
Yep. Steal from the poor and you're fine.
While we're on the topic of fraud, I believe we've mentioned this a few times in earlier episodes, the suspiciously timed bets. When something crazy happens, there's always somebody who has just enough insider information to drop something on Polymarket. And, well, we've got an official first case charged.
We're learning that a special forces soldier has been charged for making more than $400,000 by betting on whether or not Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro would be removed from office. And here's the thing, according to the indictment, the officer participated in the planning and execution of the operation and used that classified information to allegedly profit Remember, Maduro and his wife were captured during a nighttime raid in Caracas by U.S. forces in early January. They're charged with drug trafficking. Both have pleaded not guilty. We've reached out to Polymarket for comment. I want to go right to Tom Winter, who is reporting on this for us. Tom, what are you learning?
Right. So this indictment was just unsealed in the last 20, 30 minutes or so. The arrest had been underway for some time. The plan to make this arrest, the individual Gannon Ken Van Dyke, that's Gannon Ken Van Dyke, is a member of the U.S. Special Forces, actually reports to the JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, and was actively involved in planning the whole Maduro incident, had made a number of bets over a series of time. Remember, the time period for this operation had shifted.
I want to be very clear, and we have said this before on the show when we've talked about these bets. This is flat out hard evidence that they don't give a fuck about you. It can't be made more clear that your tax dollars are going to war, right? Going to a cause that benefits you in no way, makes your life more difficult, right? Because fucking gas goes up, right? You know, the price of imports goes up. And these motherfuckers are betting on it.
Yep.
And making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of the premise of making your life worse.
There's three other problems here. First one is this guy allegedly made $40,000.
400,000.
400,000, excuse me. Allegedly made 400,000 off of it. We know that people also made billions off of it.
Yeah.
The people that made billions off of it, we haven't heard of a single arrest in those cases.
Well, because they're the people that are lobbying the government and donating to the government.
And in the government. Because
It's
I'm
in the
almost certain
government.
that at least some of them are cabinet officials. Like, there's
No,
no way.
Absolutely.
Or even Trump himself could be the top one. Who fucking knows? The point is, they're going after this guy because he's the patsy. Like, he very well could have been brought in the whole time specifically so he could be the patsy. And they'll give him a lighter sentence or whatever else and just be like, look, you're the one that we're going to be all like, look, we found the person that was doing the fraud in the betting. And then, you know, you can look away and look at the next distraction.
It's because he made enough money one time doing what they do every fucking day.
Yep.
It's funny because every week Trump goes in front of the TV cameras in the nation and he either announces like, oh no, the ceasefire's back off, or the ceasefire's on, or the strait is open, or the strait is closed, or no, Iran can't close the strait because we closed it first. And every single time he does this dumb shit, there are billions of dollars in perfectly timed Polymarket bets that make people an absolute shitload of money. And how many of those people have been arrested? Not a
None.
damn one. But who
Right.
does get arrested? The one
This
person who
guy.
does it, who's, you know, and I'm not saying this is the right action. It is fucking fraud. But the one person that does get arrested is the person making a working class income in the army.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And who does the army go after? They go after the low income communities. They go
Yep.
after, you know, the working class.
Yep.
So
The first place they bombed in the Iran war was
excuse him for trying to use the fucking tools that the elites are to make his way. You
Yeah.
know, somehow that's wrong, but no, fucking Raytheon can go kill more brown kids in Lebanon and nobody cares.
This is why I say that the rich have essentially been waging class warfare on us for over 100 years, but they only started calling it class warfare the second we started getting class consciousness and fighting back.
Yeah.
So I think we should just embrace the class war angle and just be like, you guys have been doing this to us for over 100 years.